welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about Spinal Tap II, The End Continues, which I am so excited to get into. This is going to be a really fun one. You guys know I love my music comedy kind of things. I mean, obviously with the Pup Pups and everything else that I do with my music career, obviously I'm heavy into this kind of stuff and inspired by this kind of thing myself. So I was excited for this movie, although I didn't think it was going to turn out very well, but it did. It was so funny. And I went and saw it with my mom. We had a great time. And now I am joined by Ryan Pack to talk about it. Ryan Pack from Soundtrack Your Life podcast. And yeah, we had a great time talking about this one. Before we get into it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. We have a lot of episodes on the way, so you get subscribed. You'll find out about all those episodes as they come. And with that said, let's talk about Spinal Tap II. Ryan Pack is back with us to talk about Spinal Tap II. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing great.
I am so excited to talk about this movie. I think starting off, I am surprised at the reaction to this movie because I just saw it this week, and I think you saw it towards the end of last week. And I sat there, I went with my mom, and I was laughing the entire time. And this is one of those situations where I get home, I pop open the old letterbox, and I look at it, and everyone's like, could we just stop doing these legacy sequels? I'm done with this. This is boring. This wasn't funny. I'm like, what's going on here? This movie was so funny.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the hit to miss ratio was way better than I expected.
Yeah.
And I was just happy to hang out with the three guys, even if not much not much plot wise happened.
Yeah, and not much plot wise does happen, but that is like completely okay for this kind of mockumentary. Like, I am here to hang out, some really fun stuff, some really funny things, to just see where these guys are at this point. And more than anything, like, we haven't really had a good mockumentary in a while, and so to get like this kind of a movie again, it's been a while for Spinal Tap, but it's been a while for this kind of a movie, and so it was exciting to get back into a theater and see something like this again, and that was like a big part of the fun for me going into this thing. Were you a big Spinal Tap fan going into it?
Yeah, I say we as my co-host Nicole and I, we both love Spinal Tap. Christopher Guest is a huge mutual love of the two of us. So, we basically gave it a shot, contacted Bleecker Street's PR team, said, hey, can we be part of this somehow? And they said, well, everyone's kind of booked up interviews, but you guys want 2 free tickets? And we were like, yes. And we saw it. We saw it on Wednesday, which I think is the first like public night that people could watch it. And so we were in a theater full of people who could not wait to watch this movie, and it was a great experience. Everybody was having a great time, and
yeah.
Our enjoyment level went past 11 to infinity.
There you go. Absolutely. Were there a lot of leather jackets and like, metal shirts, Iron Maiden shirts, maybe stuff like that? Anything like that in the audience?
We were definitely the youngest people in the theater.
Nice.
And probably the best groomed people as well.
Oh, very good. Very good. Right on. Well, I want to get into some puzzle pieces here. We'll get into everything that we liked and maybe didn't like along the way. But I'm going to jump in first this time. I kind of told you in advance that I would do this. You just brought up Christopher Guest, who, of course, is Nigel in Spinal Tap, but, of course, took the reins and ran with it when it comes to mockumentaries. And in a way, we already got the spiritual sequel to Spinal Tap back in, I believe it was 2003, but whatever it was, A Mighty Wind, Christopher Guest's mockumentary with Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara as this folk duo, Mitch and Mickey, and this whole will they, won't they of getting them back together for one more concert. And along the way, we also have appearances from, Michael McKean's in there, Harry Shearer, and of course Christopher Guest himself, and a lot of the other regulars of like this entire world of mockumentary comedians. And I feel like the first puzzle piece has to be A Mighty Wind because it kind of tapped into exactly that same energy of the original Spinal Tap, just in a different genre. And it all kind of comes back around now for real with Spinal Tap 2. But taking the will they be able to pull off this one last reunion concert idea kind of really does seem like it's inspired by the thing that they had already done at that point.
Yeah, we covered a Mighty Wind actually this morning for an upcoming episode of Soundtrack Your Life. So, we've been calling this the week of guesting because it's been a lot of Christopher Guest.
Yes.
But yeah, the movies are really similar. It's a build up to a big concert, and both films also have kind of like a manager sort of person who's trying to help put things together, but also cares nothing about the material.
Yes.
And that's, Fred Willard in A Mighty Wind. And I don't remember the actor's name, but
Chris Addison, I believe. But
Chris Addison plays Simon.
So funny. Yeah. So funny.
They're very kind of similar energies in the two films. So I feel like they're, they are kindred spirits.
They absolutely are kindred spirits, and absolutely hilarious. The one thing, and this actually, I mean, might as well get it out of the way right now. My biggest problem with Spinal Tap 2 is the lack of new music. And that's something that A Mighty Wind is got some really great songs, but they're also funny, and you get I loved the fake album covers of all of the in between, albums that they had released before this whole thing. And we should have gotten more of the in between of the band and some of their albums and some of what they had been through, rather than just the personal stuff. But I think A Mighty Wind already did it and did it so well with these other characters, just played by a lot of the same people. But yeah, A Mighty Wind is so good, and I owe it a rewatch. It's been quite a few years, but I loved that movie when it came out. But let's go to another piece. What do you got?
So I think when we were talking about doing this Spinal Tap episode, I said that a lot of my pieces, if you were to cover them, Spinal Tap 1 would be a piece for that. So it's kind of
such an influential movie, of course, So yeah.
And no better example of this than 2016's Lonely Island film Popstar.
Yes, on my list as well. Yeah.
And especially with the stage prop stuff in the two movies, in Popstar, you have the helmet that shoots lasers out of it for no apparent reason, and then here you have the skull, and then when you turn it back, it's the butt that farts.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is very, very Popstar to me.
Yeah, no, 100%, and the idea of some of those props and things like that they're just kind of forcing them to include in their show. They're just what is happening here? And and Andy Samberg is just so lost within his own show in Popstar, and it's so funny. And really, that movie, I feel like it upped the game for it's part of the reason we don't see these mockumentaries anymore, is because I think that kind of put a cap on it in a way. So that's part of the reason I was not sure if Spinal Tap 2 would actually work or do anything worthwhile new, because it just does it so damn good. But definitely one that I was thinking about as well. I'm glad you brought it up here. I will go with a little one here, but I gotta go with Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Because that was the sequel to the Kingsman film, where Elton John was one of the new characters in it. And as anyone who listens to the show probably has heard me talk about before, Elton John was a customer at our record store, Wax Trax Records. And my dad, it was a big deal that Elton was going to be in that movie. And in the movie, he's yelling fuck at people a lot. And he gets really pissed off, and he's like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. And my dad loves to tell this story about how when Elton John came to the store, my dad started yelling fuck fuck you," and he just started laughing. He's like, "Oh, you saw the movie," and I feel like Rob Reiner saw the movie and was like, "We got to get some more of that. Like the world needs more Elton John yelling fuck at people," and so I feel like that is where the whole ending of Elton John just getting hurt and then pissed off and just fuck Spinal Tap and just screaming at everybody and pissed off in the hospital after the fact. All that I think kind of is a extension of his Kingsman performance.
Very cool. I just also wanted to add that Popstar and Spinal Tap 2 both have a cameo from Questlove.
That's true. Well, Questlove, God, when you think of like who the kind of the I don't know, like the celebrities who everybody kind of knows or like at least can recognize, like there's not many anymore, Like of course Taylor Swift, and she's probably too big or something. But Questlove is somebody who is like a perfect person to get, and I think was such a great little cameo for this, just really good for this. And he also just has like a kind of look about him that he's just like perfect for these kinds of comedies.
Right. He's got a good deadpan.
Yeah.
And I make the joke that it's not a music documentary without Questlove in it.
There you go. 100%. Yeah, exactly. Well, what do you got next?
So my next puzzle piece is Ben Stiller's 2001 film Zoolander.
Okay.
And there's a specific scene in the film. I mean, there's a couple things I can point out. But the thing that first triggered Zoolander in my mind was when they're going over merchandise and they bring up the International House of Rock.
Sure. Yeah. It's like, it's so on the nose too, but yeah, totally.
And it reminded me of the files being in the computer scene in Zoolander, especially when Nigel's like, well, there's only like 4 people here. And like, it's a model.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to like wrap his head around that. So I definitely got Zoolander vibes. And I think just like a lot of these 2000s comedies from, Ben Stiller and Judd Apatow and Will Ferrell, like I feel like they all have kind of similar characters to the Spinal Tap band, as they're just kind of in this arrested development for whatever reason. Whether it is Derek Zoolander because he's a model and that's all he knows, and but it's very similar where they're just kind of man children.
Yeah. And
I feel like that's indebted to Spinal Tap as well.
I think so too, and that's going to come up in another one of my puzzle pieces in a little bit. But first, I wanted, speaking of the 2000s, but a different kind of a movie. I wanted to go back to Josie and the Pussycats for my next one. Back to the slimy music exec who is just so funny in this movie, and like really my favorite part. As great as the Spinal Tap guys are, and a lot of those classic, of that kind of troupe, cameos. He's the best part. And that idea of the music business just being terrible, and all the people from the A&Rs, the producers to the radio promoters, all just everybody's using each other and all that kind of stuff. But also like a great like music movie. Like Josie and the Pussycats is kind of a stealth great music movie that I think, we don't always think about it when we're thinking about good music movies, but it definitely fits the mold. And that guy, he has like a disease or something, or an illness where he like literally can't process music. And I was just thinking about just how these people just should not be in this business at all. But of course, that's where they are, and they're just terrible.
Yeah, and Josie and the Pussycats also has cameos from Eugene Levy and Parker Posey as part of the cast.
Sure. Parker Posey, great in that. Exactly. So, great. What do you got next?
So my next one is Anchorman 2.
Okay.
And like I said, part of it is just kind of the character types. Like Ron Burgundy feels very much like a Spinal Tap character, like he'd be in Spinal Tap, just kind of not understanding how the world works outside of his small little bubble. And then just kind of how they have to go and find the band in this film. In Anchorman 2, he has to go like reassemble his news team, and like the guys are in like the most random places, like Brooks at his own funeral. So I kind of got like a vibe of that, just kind of from kind of reassembling the band. I guess you could also like name any heist sequel.
Sure. It's got the heist set up, but no, you know what? You're 100% onto something there with Anchorman 2. That is a great one. And it's like, where do you take these characters that are just so ridiculous in the first movie? Like, you've got to go so far out there, and like, to have Harry Shearer in a glue museum and getting it stuck to his nose, and like Michael McKean, all his ridiculous stuff, making jingles for like on hold music, and like you got to take them to 11 in the stupid factor, and like Anchorman 2 really does that really well, and that's a movie that I feel like we all were a little disappointed with at the time, but then like in retrospect, it's actually pretty damn funny.
I think they tried to do too much plot, and that's what I think they do well in this movie. Is like, we're just gonna let you hang out with the three guys.
Exactly, exactly. So I only have one more piece. Popstar was on my list, but I will go to my last piece then. And this is again talking about that Arrested Development kind of thing. And I was thinking of Bill and Ted. Maybe you can go with Face the Music because it is a legacy sequel. But just the idea that it feels so much like a stoner comedy, even though these guys aren't smoking weed, they're not doing drugs, they're not even drinking. They're just goofy. They're
Well, in the
just
first movie, they were doing a lot of drugs.
sure, but nowadays they're just a bunch of old guys that are a little out of it, you know. And
Yeah, Nigel's just eating cheese.
yeah, he's high on his cheese. And they're just weird guys, basically, just weird old guys. One of my favorite lines I jotted down from this movie, and it has nothing to do with being rock stars or any of that stuff. The house that they're staying in New Orleans is it's part of a ghost tour, and they're talking about going on a ghost tour, and they're debating whether or not to take the tour at night or during the day. And Michael McKean says, "In the daytime, ghosts are just rumors." And I'm just
Yeah.
like, where did they come up with shit like that? It's just so random, so weird, and it's just, again, it's like just these oddball dudes who are just high on their own supply of weirdness, basically.
Yeah, that is probably my favorite joke from the movie. Like, that's not a gag, you know?
Yeah, yeah. My wife and I, whenever we go on vacation, we always go on ghost tours, and so that like really hit home for me when they're debating on going on a ghost tour, because I'm sure we would be as well if we were in New Orleans. But what do you got next? Any more puzzle pieces for us?
I got two more.
All right.
So one of them is Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
I was gonna bring that one up, but I felt like it didn't go plot wise enough. Like there wasn't enough happening here. But tell me why you're bringing it up.
I'm bringing it up because Jack and Kyle always fight,
Yeah.
and they have that song, Kyle Quits the Band. And I feel
Mhm.
like Nigel and David have kind of the similar relationship where they're always going to be at each other's throats, but at the end, they're going to come back for the band.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said at the beginning, like all of your puzzle pieces are probably inspired by Spinal Tap. There's nothing more inspired by Spinal Tap than Tenacious D. So I guess it should be on the list for sure. And I love that movie so much. I love Tenacious D. That's one thing. Like the original Spinal Tap, I love. It's great. It's hilarious. But I never found the songs to be that particularly funny. I found them to be funny, and the situations and the jokes. But Tenacious D, I just love their songs. They're so funny.
Yeah.
So you got one more for us?
I have one more, and I think it's probably just because it just came out, but I have Happy Gilmore 2 as a piece just because it is another legacy movie, and I think they kind of had the same sort of question of like, well, what do we do all these years later?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we do a sequel all these years later? I think Spinal Tap does a much better job of it, and um, morbidly, it might be because not everyone from the first one is dead.
Yeah, that's true. That definitely helps. What one thing about Happy Gilmore 2, because it did kind of cross my mind after this movie, and like you said, maybe because it just came out and it's just on our minds right now. But I thought this movie did such a better job with the cameos. Like we already talked about Questlove and Elton John, but Paul McCartney, Fran Drescher, Garth Brooks, like they all fit and it's funny because it's them. It's not just hey, we could throw so and so in this scene for whatever reason. Like they all just actually feel like they're part of the story in a way, and them interacting with Spinal Tap over all these years that we haven't seen anything new out of Spinal Tap. Like it kind of makes sense that these are some of the people, Paul Schaefer, like these are some of the people that would interact with them at some point. And so I think it does a much better job of cameo overload than Happy Gilmore 2 did.
Right. And I mean, one of my favorite parts is when they're trying to find a new drummer because
Yeah.
everyone knows about their drummer situation. And you have Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Lars Ulrich from Metallica
Yeah.
in separate conversations, volunteering each other to
Yeah.
be the one that drums for Spinal Tap. Hey, have you talked to Chad Smith?
That was excellent. That was so funny. I love that. Well, did you happen to know offhand? I mean, I didn't look this up ahead of time. The girl that they end up getting, is she from something? Is she a comedian? Is she an actual drummer? Do you happen to know that?
No, I think her name was. I think it ends in Franco, but I don't think she's. I don't think she's related to those Francos.
Right. Yeah. Probably not.
But
Uh,
she does a great job because you really, you really feel for her. You're like worried about her life the entire movie.
yeah. I know. Like this is going to end really badly, but of course, we go in a very different direction though for the ending. So I love all that stuff. So, any closing thoughts on Spinal Tap 2? Anything that we didn't quite get into that you wanted to mention here?
No, I'm glad you brought the drummer up because, like I said, she's so good. Where you know that it's inevitable that she is a Spinal Tap drummer,
Yeah.
but you still like care about her and you worry about her because you know she's kind of like Kenny from South Park at that point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. She's also awesome. Like she's
Yeah, she's
really,
great.
really good, and her presence is great, and I love that. And inevitably one of them hits on her, and of course, that's not going to work out at all, and it couldn't have worked out ever. But yeah, it's she's a great addition, and I'm sure that this is, all we get as far as Spinal Tap is concerned. I'm sure we'll probably get some like extras on the Blu-ray or something like that. But like, this is all we get out of the Spinal Tap story, and that's perfectly fine. It's just a nice little extra moment just to see these guys as they're old. And I think it's just perfect too. Like, it wouldn't have made sense really to make the movie earlier on because like the whole point of like these like old school rock guys is that they get old and they keep going and like it just happens over and over again. Every band that you could think of is still going after all these years, and so that's the time that it makes sense to catch back up with Spinal Tap.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that they've become like a real band. You
Yeah.
know, they have the footage of them playing like Glastonbury
Yeah.
and Live Earth and stuff, and it's kind of like this, like it's a very like meta, like layered sort of thing with them.
Yeah, it
Uh,
totally is, and I love that about it as well. I also, just as one more cap, like something I brought up at the beginning, but how nice it is to have a proper mockumentary movie again. It's been a while since we've had something like that, and the last few Christopher Guest movies were pretty freaking great. He also had that show at one point that I think it was on HBO or Showtime, one of them, that was really good as well. And it's just been way too long, and so it's really great to have these guys back doing this kind of a thing.
yeah, like I said, it could just be like 90 minutes of them sitting on a couch and just talking with each other. Like I would have been fine with that as a Spinal Tap sequel. Just they are so brilliant being in the same room together and just kind of knowing the history with them. I'm so glad that they found the time to do this.
Absolutely. Well, I think that does it for Spinal Tap 2. Ryan, is there another movie you watched recently you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
I was pleasantly surprised by The Legend of Ochi. That was an A24 film from Isaiah Saxon that came out a few months ago.
Hmm.
Fantasy film, kind of in the vein of Neverending Story and The Dark Crystal. No CGI used in the movie, and it's just like a really nice family drama. William Dafoe is in it because it's an A24 film, and I think they have him on some sort of retainer.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Dave
totally.
Longstreth from the Dirty Projectors did the score. It's a very beautiful score, and it's just a really fun movie. It's like 85 minutes, and it hits all the fantasy family sort of notes that you're looking for.
Right on. Yeah, I wanted to see that. I don't think it ever opened here. I think it just kind of came and went, but definitely hoping to catch it sometime before the end of the year. So good recommendation there for sure. Ryan, tell us about the podcast and where they can find it.
So this podcast is called Soundtrack Your Life. You can find it wherever you listen to this podcast. We talk about music soundtracks and the movies or shows that they come from. Just wanted to plug our Spinal Tap episode. We did a Spinal Tap episode last year with Dan Schinder of Drum Talk TV. He used to play in a prog band on the Sunset Strip, and if you watch the first Spinal Tap movie, they talk about one of their dead drummers off screen as Little Danny Schinder. So he is name dropped. He said that Rob Reiner and Michael McKean used to come check out his band. So he is
Nice.
one of the dead Spinal Tap drummers. And it's kind of like piecing it together where Dan Schinder goes through the plot of Spinal Tap, all these different things that have happened to the drummers or to the band. And he matches them up with like the moments in rock history that they're kind of referring to. And it's a pretty fun episode.
Oh wow. Yeah, that sounds like a really cool one. I actually haven't watched, and that's a thing I should have said earlier. I haven't rewatched Spinal Tap in quite a few years. I was going to before the movie, but I didn't get a chance to. I'm going to rewatch Spinal Tap and then listen to your episode because that sounds like it'll be a really fun way to deep dive afterwards.
Yeah, that guy is like an encyclopedia of like 80s rock knowledge.
Nice. That's great. Well, right on. Ryan, happy to get you back after all these years, but hopefully it won't be as long before the next time we get you on.
Yeah, I'm starting to see new release movies again, so I can hopefully be back on again soon.
There you go. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Spinal Tap 2. Thank you to Ryan Pack for joining me, and thank you to all of you for listening. If you're enjoying piecing it together, make sure you are subscribed. You can also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod, and don't forget to join my Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. I actually just got to meet up with Ryan Pack in person. He was here in Las Vegas and we got to hang out, have a drink, and just chill and talk about podcasting and movies and everything like that. But while not always a possibility to meet up in person, you can meet up in person at my live shows. And don't forget, we've got a bunch on the way. At the time that this one goes up, we'll have just done A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, and I think it'll be our next episode coming up on Monday. But I've got a show on him coming up this Sunday at Downtown Cinemas. I've got a show on Tron Ares coming up at Downtown Cinemas next month, and you can enter to win tickets right now for that one. And I'll be announcing more live shows coming up soon. So check out piecingpod.com to get subscribed, find us on social media, and get entered to win some tickets to come out to the movies with me. Come hang out. It's always a fun time to go to the movies together and talk about those movies after watching the movies. So go check out piecingpod.com to do that and find out what we got coming up. So I got to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And we're talking musical comedies here. So I got to go with something from my lifetime of working on silly, ridiculous music. And I'm going to go with the Pup Pups, my rock group with my pets. We all know that my dog Harvey passed away a few weeks ago, but we were working on one more album with Harvey, and I'm going to play a preview from the next Pup Pups album, which I will be finishing in his honor. This is a track by Harvey called Out in the Cold. It's one of the ones that we managed to finish before his, I would say, untimely passing, but he was 17 years and 8 months, so not exactly untimely, but it's never enough time, as we all know. But this song has nothing to do with getting old, passing away, any of those kinds of things. This song is just about him being out there at night. I'm waiting for him to go to the bathroom, but it's freaking freezing and I'm waiting on him. So that's what this one's about. And so I hope you enjoy it. It'll be on the next Pup Pups album. And I'm not sure if the song's 100% done, but it's pretty close. And we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon. Harvey, you gotta hurry up, man. It's freaking freezing out here.
I'm trying, Dad. I'm really trying to go. It's too freaking cold. Oh, well, I'm out in the darkness, just staring at the moon. I'm freezing off my little tush. I hope I can go real soon. It's so cold. It's so cold. Oh, well, I'm out in the cold. The weather drops so low, 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 low. Dad's waiting for me to go, but I can't when it's so freaking cold out. I swear I'm not just holding it in. I wanna get inside as bad as you do. And don't you go thinking it's lost on me that the sprinklers will probably be coming on soon. It's so cold. Oh, well, I'm out in the cold. The weather drops so low, 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 low. Dad's waiting for me to go, but I can't when it's so freaking cold out. Oh, well, I'm out in the cold. The weather drops so low, 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 low. Dad's waiting for me to go, but I can't when it's so freaking cold out.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.